Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And Lord willing, this would be a pretty quick video, but wanted to do a lesson on this. And this is a video I was watching earlier today that was done by the elder apostle Tahar. As you can see, it's titled, "We are going to be here for another 30 plus years." You know, I was kind of hurt in my spirit when I saw that. just joking. But so in the video, right, you know, I was watching it and I forget, let me see which part it is in here where he plays it. But pretty much in the video you have whatever show this is, but you have 3 Milli Productions, and you can see in the title, Bishop Nathaniel prophesies end times, 2024 presidential race, natural disasters plus rapture. This is about 6 months ago. It shows on there. So I'm going to play it and you can hear it for yourself. But the individual asks him, you know, roughly along the lines of like, so how long do you think we have left, right, before all these things unfold? And so the apostle wasn't exaggerating when he put 30 years there, because he pretty much said that comfortably too. That's the worst part. He said it comfortably, you know. Oh, you know, at least 20 to 30 years. I'm in my mind, I'm like, you know, there's no way that anybody should be, anybody who is sincerely, you know, in this truth and aware of what's going on, to even be having that kind of, you know, comfortability saying that. Because as the scriptures say, this is not our rest, right? Even Yahweh Shai, you think Yahweh Shai is trying to wait 20 to 30 years at least until he makes his return? What do you think the earth is going to look like in even 5 years? Anyway, let me play this.
When you're seeing everything.
Here we go. Let's go back.
So-called horse's mouth. 10 times. That's a thing that's always been spoken of. But again, to your point right now, when you're always tuning into the news and seeing everything that's going on in Israel and Palestine, when you're seeing everything that's going on with these hurricanes, if you had to guess, how much time do you think that we might have left as a people right now in this current state of America?
My rough estimate, a guess. This is a guess.
Right.
It's not biblical. Anywhere between 20 and 30 years. 20, 30, something like that.
Is that
just a guess?
Anywhere between 20, 30 years, you know, something like that. That's crazy. You know, that's crazy work, because you know, even if, and we don't know, right? The scriptures say, like, no man knows a day, but based on the signs of the things that are taking place, number one, and number two, we should be in the spirit of hastening. Like, we should be in the spirit of we wanted to get here ASAP. So if you were going to give a guess, you know, even in your realistic estimate, you would want to lean towards the closer date than the further. 20 years is a long time. And, you know, I'm curious to see, like, how does Russia, Iran, Israel going back and forth, and the things that are going on in the world today, the signs the Lord told us about happening, how does that indicate to you that we still have about anywhere between 20 to 30 years? You know, with the way tensions are unfolding, who's even going to be president in like 20 to 30 years? You know, from the way things are looking, like who's going to be more suited to fulfill some of these roles here, if not this guy, Trump, you know? And with the way technology is moving, you know, it's not going to take 20, 30 years to be able to implement like the beast system, for example. You know, but hey, like I said, regardless of what, you know, fair point. He did say it's not biblical. It's just his guess. But you know, just hearing that was like, if I had to guess, I would not be throwing out that number. That's way too long. You know. But anyway, I'm going to pull up a couple of precepts here, starting here in 2 Peter chapter 3 and 12, just getting straight to the point. As it says, matter of fact, you know what? Let's start at verse 11. right? Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? And Peter here, the Apostle Peter, was referring to, when he mentioned these things being dissolved, the nuclear destruction, right? The destruction that would come, the second death, in other words. Verse 12, looking for and hasting on to the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. If you look at how much damage has been done to society within even just the past 5 years, the past decade, it's like the damage increases exponentially each year. So you look at the state of the world today, where things that were considered disgusting and outrageous just like a couple of years ago are now the new norm. In fact, it's like, wow, you're probably even better off with this. If that's the norm today, what do you think the world is going to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? You don't even want to look that far, right? The scriptures the scriptures tell you in Matthew 24, right? If the Lord did not shorten the days, there shall no flesh be saved. You think these elites want to wait that long to implement their NWO? No. And if they had it their way, they would eliminate everybody who refuses to take the C-hip, and then C-hip everybody else. But the way the cycle of life works is that you would come back reincarnated. But guess what? They would implement systems to where the same way when a child is born, they give them all these shots and V's, right? They would have it to where you the same way they give you a social security number and your birth certificate and all of those things, they would require that to be digital. And they would more than likely be implanting children or babies at birth, or shortly after. So imagine that. Then you come back on the earth and you already tagged up. So how are you going to be delivered then? Anyway, this is Hebrews chapter 13, verse 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Right? So we understand that this place, especially here in Babylon that we are in, it's not a place that we want to stay in. Right? This is the land of our captivity. When you're somewhere you're not comfortable at, right? Like what's that precept? Ezekiel 9:4 about the men that signed that cry for the abominations that are taking place. If you're somewhere you're uncomfortable at or you don't like, you want to go home. You want to go somewhere you are comfortable at, right? You don't like being in this place. You want to get out. You want to leave. It's like somebody going to jail, and they're just like, when somebody's in jail or prison, you go to prison, right? In prison, they're like eager, like, damn, I can't wait. Yo, all right, it's another day closer. It's another day closer. They're trying to get out of there. They're not trying to comfortably relax and, hey, you know what? Even if they told me I could leave today, I might ask for another 20 or 30. They would do that if they're comfortable. So if you think about it, they just had this whole land blitz. They boasted about how they were able to raise up all this money, and now they can go and do what's right by the people according to them. So maybe it does make sense that you in this position and in this condition would guesstimate roughly 20 to 30 years. Like the apostle said in the comment section, then it gives them enough time to spend all that money, right? Because imagine you work so hard, right? You busting your ass, and in the time when you're suffering, nothing is happening, right? All hell is not breaking loose. And then you finally make it to the point where you just bought this brand new house, you just bought this brand new car, you just got with this fine ass chick, and then and then now the Most High's like, all right, it's time to go. You want to go now, or you want like a little more time? You at that point, you like, damn, I just got this car, I just got this house, and somebody who says, oh, I want a little bit more time is somebody that's comfortable here. Meaning they love the pleasures of what they have now more so than the deliverance to come. So as the Apostle Paul said, for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. We desire the kingdom so much. We desire to be delivered from this hellish condition and this hellish life so much that we would rather, if we had it our way, Lord, please come back this year. Make it happen. Yeah, at the very least, just like set something off this year that can at least lead us into, where the final destination of prophecy. But we're like that eager to get out of here. So, somebody who is truly desiring to be delivered out of here is not gonna give a guess like that. The last person that tried that, talking about 1,000 years, we saw what happened to him. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you even with a sore destruction. And one thing that's very dangerous is, like adaptability when used in the wrong way. And that's what these elites use on the people. They capitalize on the natural human ability to adapt to certain situations. And they use that to prime and condition people to become okay with things that they normally would not be okay with. Because your brain and your body naturally adapts to things so that, it can be easier for you to live in that condition if that's somewhere that you're gonna, that's a condition you're gonna have to be in for a while. Like, for example, if you work out a lot without gloves, you'll start to develop callus in your hands. And you wonder, why is that happening? Because it's like this, of all reactions that you can get from constantly lifting that metal and having that squeezing in your hand, why this? Why does it get hardened like that? Because your body is now like, well, this is going to make it easier to grip, whether it's a barbell or whatever the case is, and it won't hurt you as much as before. So your body adapts, right, in different ways to cope with whatever situation you're in. And so Esau, Edom, knowing that, right, these elites, they flip it in reverse to say, well, I'm going to slowly adapt these people to make them comfortable in hell. So eventually the fire doesn't burn anymore. Eventually now it starts to feel more like home. Now you're surrounded by demons, and they no longer look like demons. They look like your homeboy or the girl you're trying to get with. They look like family now because you've been here so long, and your mind has slowly started to adapt. And the part of you that says, hey, this place is not good, this place is getting worse, hey, we need to get out of here, is gone. And they've lulled you to sleep. That's what they do. And that's why today you'll have Jake get gunned down by Esau, Edomites, crazy, outrageous things. And you won't see the same reaction you had when you had the Trayvon Martin incident, right? Or the, I think it was Mike Brown incident. Why? Because at that time, it was kind of like fresh. Everybody was, speaking out against it and so on and so forth, posters everywhere. Now, it happens on a much more frequent basis, but it's not the same reaction because they've desensitized the minds of the people by capitalizing off of that adaptability, of like typical human behavior. And so I say that to say that if you are not careful and you are not constantly examining yourself and staying and keeping your mind occupied in prophecy, you'll start to slowly fall asleep and you'll start to get comfortable being here. And that's when you're okay with giving estimates like 20 to 30 years, which is crazy. If somebody was struggling, suffering their ass off, and you said, if it was up to you, how long do you think you would have over here? Even if they didn't know, they would aim for a shorter time because they would put some hope inside of their estimate to try and get out of here. And that is the spirit that we are in. We are hoping and praying every day that the Lord speeds it up. Every day that the Lord speeds it up. Every day that this be the day that's the trigger gets pulled. Anyway, just wanted to say a few words on that. It was very interesting, to hear it out of his own mouth to say that. But, the Lord will do what he does in due time. So with that, Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.